What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the vlog. Today we are going to do a live video here talking about some Z06 information that has just broke. So you guys know we do a live video every Monday night with the Vet Syndicate crew that usually lasts about an hour because it's a lot of car guy talk. There's a lot of banter back and forth and that kind of stuff. Today, we are talking specifically about the Z06 and the Z07 top speed, both of which have been announced by Chevy, confirmed 100%. No speculation here. We're going to talk about it in today's video. So if you're here live, awesome. If not, you will see this video later. We're going to limit these live videos for specifically information to about 10 to 15 minutes. So this isn't going to be an hour-long live video like we typically do on Monday nights. This is just 10 to 15 minutes of nothing but information about whatever the title says. And in this case, it is the Z06 top speed along with that Z07 package car top speed. So let's jump right into it. Now, what we're going to do here first is just flip right over to the browser and we're going to talk about the top speed, which is right there. So you guys don't have to wait for this information at all. Like I said, these live videos are strictly information based, 10 to 15 minutes, and it's right there. The top speed of the C8 Corvette Z06 is 195 and it's 189 for the Z07. So if you guys tuned in yesterday for the live video that I did with the Vet Syndicate crew, we talked about the fact that originally the information from Tadge at Corvettes at Carlisle sounded like the 195 mile per hour top speed was for the Z07 package car, when in reality, that's actually the Z06. So you guys are reading this correctly. The Z06 has a top speed that is 1 mile an hour faster than the base model C8 Corvette. So as you guys may or may not know, the top speed for the C8 Corvette is in fact 194 miles per hour. With the Z51 package, it lowers it down to 198 miles per hour. So if you guys read this here, it says the C8 Corvette track-capable package trades top speed to gain in downforce that enhances high-speed handling. Chevrolet has confirmed that the 2020 Corvette Stingray with the track-capable Z51 package will reach a top speed of 184 miles per hour, down from the 194 miles per hour officially recorded by the base C8. So, with that said, the base Z06 is only 1 mile per hour faster than the base C8 without the Z51 package. Now, this is not necessarily a gigantic deal. I just like to bring the information out to you guys as soon as I get it. And this was just posted today by our friends over at the CorvetteBlogger.com. And they cleared up a couple things that were discussed at Corvettes at Carlisle, like I said. Now, this isn't really something to get too up in arms about because at the end of the day, the top speed doesn't matter as much as how fast the car will get to that top speed. But with all of that said, there's actually a lot of text here about what Tadge had said at Corvettes at Carlisle. And this is a quote from him specifically in the video that you can actually see yourselves. Now, he says, "This is really not a numbers car. We never intended it to be. It was always intended to be the most pure expression of track and driver capability. That's what we were thinking about, but the numbers are still pretty good. You've got 670 horsepower. That's a very impressive, or that's very, very impressive. We published it before, but the 0 to 60 on this car is 2.6 seconds, which is insane. But so honestly, when we broke 3 seconds on the Stingray, we were a little worried because this car isn't a drag car per se. We were a little bit worried because, but it pulls like crazy. It launches great. It's got great big wide tire patches in the back. So 0 to 60 in 2.6 seconds. We haven't really talked about it. In fact, we haven't done our testing at reveal, but the top speed of the car is 195 miles per hour, which is obviously pretty good. It's especially good given that the downforce that we have on this car. Now, with the 195, he is obviously talking about the Z07 package. Or the Z06, I'm sorry. The Z07 doesn't reduce the top speed by much. It's only 6 miles per hour, whereas on the base car, the Z51 package actually reduced it down an additional 10 miles per hour. The lift to drag ratio on this car is the best we've ever done, so you get pretty substantial downforce with reasonable drag, and that lets you run 195 miles per hour, quarter mile time at 10.6 at over 130 miles an hour. So even though it's not a numbers car per se, it does vary respectively. But where it's really going to shine, I believe, when we put the car out there is the track times. That was its reason for being basically in existence. All the decisions that went into it were all focused on that. And so the people who love the track cars, I think they're going to probably set personal records at many tracks driving this car. Now, like I said, guys, Tadge himself has said this at Corvettes at Carlisle. Yeah, so ready on 3, I did say that because up until today, we were under the impression that the 195 mile per hour was in fact the Z07 package, not the Z06. This just came out today that it is actually the Z06 that hit 195. The Z07 is 189. So again, not a gigantic deal. I just like to get this information out to you guys as fast as possible. These smaller live videos are going to be just for informational sakes, not really for talking back and forth about car stuff. Even though I will respond to some of the comments in the live chat here, it's mostly just to get this information out to you guys as fast as possible. Now, like I said, it doesn't really matter too much about the top speeds of these cars. It matters how fast they can get to that top speed. That's far more important. Digital Car Addict says crazy. The C6 Z06 does 197 miles per hour stock. That is, again, it is kind of crazy. If you think about the differences in the previous generations, how much faster they could have gone. The C7 ZR1, for example, has a top speed of 212 miles per hour. That doesn't necessarily matter that much, though. Again, we really want to focus on how fast that car is going to get to that top speed. Because there's not many tracks on this planet, if any, that I can think of off the top of my head, road courses, of course, that you're ever going to hit over 200 miles an hour on a straightaway. So the fact that this car doesn't hit 200 is not necessarily a gigantic deal, but I'm curious to see how fast it will hit the 195 or the 189. Now, those numbers are what we really want to see, and that's really what's going to make the difference here. But again, guys, I just wanted to bring this information out to you as fast as possible. The Z06 is, in fact, going to be not a 200 mile an hour car. So no matter how you cut it, no matter what kind of aero you choose on the Z06, the best you're going to get is 195 top speed and 189 for the Z07. Now, honestly, I'm more impressed with the fact that the Z07 packaged car doesn't lose that much miles per hour. That means that the drag that that car is creating is very low. And even Tadge said himself that that was the case. The big wing, the aero, the dive planes up front, they are not reducing much when it comes to top speed. And that's really awesome. So it's definitely an engineering feat, so to speak. So again, Chevy team and everything's moving in the right direction. Now, of course, I hear a lot of questions in the chat here about the Nürburgring times, and there's nothing official out there yet, but some people are speculating that it is going to be over 7 minutes. But I actually heard from one of my subscribers that talked to one of the engineers at Corvettes at Carlisle. Kevin was on, there he is, Kevin Horan. The car was kind of talked about being under 7 minutes. They don't have an actual official time, but their segmented times look like they're probably going to be under 7 minutes. Now, obviously, we won't know that for sure until we hear some confirmation from Chevrolet, but it does look good that this car is, in fact, going to be under a 7-minute car on the ring. So again, the top speed doesn't really matter much. What matters more is how fast it can get to that top speed, and that's what really makes a good track car. And in this case, if this thing is, in fact, going to hit under 7 minutes at the ring, that's a pretty good freaking track car. Kevin Horan asks, which car would you rather be in flying around the track in? Yeah, honestly, the C8 Z06 is the one I would want to be in right now, because the base C8 was such a good car. I really can't imagine that the Z06 is going to disappoint on any level, to be honest with you. I really think this car is going to be something else. But let's see, we're going to tune into the questions here for a little bit, because I like to get the information out of the way first, then we'll talk a little bit about what's going on over here in the chat. But if you guys could, while you're here, go ahead and smash that thumbs up button. Let me know you're liking the content so we can keep creating these quick news segments for you guys. I know some of you out there don't necessarily tune in on the live videos Monday nights with me and the Vet Syndicate guys, and if you don't, this is a better way for you to get some of your information really quickly, and I'm going to give that information in the beginning, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the guys in the chat on the second half, just so we can kind of make it a car guy thing a little bit. But Radio 3 says, yes, it's the 60 to 130 and the 100 to 150 timing that matters. That is exactly it. So we already know the car is pretty focused on the 0 to 60 time, and 0 to 60 is pretty good on this car. So just like with the base C8, the 0 to 60 is not going to be the issue, but whenever it comes time for track times, we want to know what it does beyond 60. And that's where I think the Z06 is going to excel. So let's see. General Lee says, hey, the sound alone will be all that does it for me. So still super excited. Absolutely, General. The sound is insane, and we got to hear it a lot at Corvettes of Carlisle this past weekend. I'll tell you what, it really is insane. But at the end of the day, for me, I need a little bit more than just a car that sounds good. I want a car that performs the part too. And not that I don't think that it will, because I definitely do. I just like to get these numbers out to you guys so you guys have all of the facts on hand before even attempting to try to get one of these cars. Lorenzo says, do you think the Z06 will outperform any major sports cars like Lamborghini or Ferrari? I absolutely do. I think the C7 in general, the C7 has had a lot of performance variants that have outperformed high-end cars like that as it is. So moving on to the C8 with a 670 horsepower engine that's naturally aspirated, the suspension tuning being a next generation mag ride, there's no way that the car is not going to outperform some of these way, way, way more expensive exotic cars. So yeah. Future Sean says he's not sure if this car is going to break 7 minutes. I'm not 100% sure myself, but I've heard, like I said, Kevin at Corvettes of Carlisle, one of my subscribers, he's actually here in the chat, talked to somebody there, and they kind of hinted at the fact that it was going to be under 7 minutes, but we'll see, because I have my doubts as well, but we'll see what ends up happening. Ready on 3 says, are they going to make the ZR1 then the Zora, or just the Zora, no ZR1 for the 8th gen? So again, guys, I don't want to get too much into speculation here, but my personal opinion is I don't think we're going to get a ZR1. I think it's going to go straight to a Zora, because I feel like Chevy's changing up the naming scheme a little bit. They're going to be calling the Grand Sport an E-Ray, and I think the ZR1 is going to be the Zora instead. So it's possible we don't get a ZR1, but honestly, like I said, there's no official confirmation of that, so it could really go either way. That's just my personal opinion. Peter says maybe they're Huracan, but not the Aventador. Yeah. The Aventador, of course, is just a beastly car, so anything that can beat that car is probably going to be well into the 6-digit numbers cost-wise. But the Huracan, my C7 ZR1 pretty much easily beats a Huracan. So that's a manual car too, beating an dual clutch auto, and it does it with ease. So that's what I mean, is that the car currently is already beating supercars. So there's no reason to think that the Z06 won't be taking out the same supercars, maybe even going further up the ladder. But anyway, guys, one last time, just to confirm the information we talked about today, it is in fact going to be that the Z06 has a top speed of 195 miles per hour, and the Z07 package car has a top speed of 189. And the difference there is obviously the more aggressive aero on the Z07 package, the more aggressive spoiler, dive planes, all that stuff. It creates more drag, but at the same time creates a lot more downforce. So Chevy really reduced the amount of drag that this more aero packaged car would create, and got it to the point where it only lost 6 miles per hour for a top speed. So if you want the Z07 package car, you're going to get a top speed of 189. And if you want the base Z06, you're going to get a top speed of 195. Neither one of the two cars are going to crack 200 miles per hour. Great White North Corvette, how you doing? I got to meet you at Corvettes of Carlisle this year. You guys, all of you guys that I met at Corvettes of Carlisle, you're all just fantastic people. I literally didn't meet anybody that wasn't one of the best people I met ever. So Great White North Corvette, I spent a lot of time with him and his girlfriend, I think soon to be wife, if I recall correctly. Both really great people. Do you think the DSSV would be better choice than Magna Ride? No, I don't. So my ZR1 has a magnetic ride control, which is actually the previous generation to the generation that the C8 is going to be getting, or the C8 already has actually. But the Z06 will obviously have a more tuned suspension, and I prefer that suspension by far over DSSVs. Now, the DSSV has its application, of course, with the ZL1 1LE, and it really makes that car very track capable, but at the same time, it's a little bit of a bear to drive on the road. So if you're okay with, I mean, I'm just saying my personal opinion. If you're okay with that ride, it's absolutely fine. But in my personal opinion, I would rather be able to turn a knob and change those modes, get something a little more comfortable, or turn the knob and get into track performance. Love the show. Lovely to meet you both. Thank you. Surviving Life and Love 2000. We appreciate it. My wife is actually currently at work, but I just wanted to bring this news out to you guys real quick. General says, I want the Z07, but due to constraints, I may up with the standard Z06, which will be just fine. You can't go wrong with either one of the two, to be honest with you. Guys, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap this video up, though. So one more time, real quick, there's the top speeds. The Z06 gets 195, and the Z07 gets 189 miles per hour for the top speed. I do believe next we're going to be hearing a little bit more from Chevy about the Nürburgring time, so stay tuned for that, guys. But as that news is out there for you guys to do what you wish with, I think we're going to go ahead and end this video. So if you guys liked it, please smash that thumbs up button. Let me know you're liking the content. I'd really appreciate a thumbs up. It really, really helps the channel. And it looks like we have a little over 100 people on here right now. So hopefully we have a little over 100 thumbs ups. It would be really appreciated, guys. But that's going to do it for this quick news segment, this quick live news segment. Hopefully you guys are liking it. Like I said, this guy right here will help me know if you are liking it, and we can continue moving forward with these news segments for you guys. I hope you all enjoyed the content. If you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so.